I'd like to give a few guidances for today, which will include some guidance on walking meditation, on what that is in the forest tradition. But I wanted to start a little bit with, before things, sometimes we get into all sorts of themes in meditation and they can go off into some wild stuff that afterwards we're like, why are we doing that? And the purpose is liberation. So whatever I'm offering, the point of it is to be free from suffering. No matter how wacky and crazy it is, that's the point. Yeah. And making those connections, sometimes I might explicitly say that that's what the connection is, and sometimes it takes some years to work out what those connections are. So I'm going to give an example. For example, like I guide a lot of embodied meditations. So coming into the 4 elements in the body, the solidity of the bones, the liquidity, the air, the heat. And the point of meditating on these is to get a body understanding of what's actually impersonal. Because to be able to be free, we need to let go of a contracted sense of self, a contracted me, mine, The stronger the me, mine is, the more suffering there is in general. Hey. So there's a kind of a self-referential movement happening. We're being born into this me, mine identification constantly, just because we're humans, that's all. And to come away from that, so that the umbrella is freedom. And then within that, there's how different ways of coming. Like the umbrella, we could say, with lots of, those spoke things that hold it. Please don't hesitate to let me know if either you can't hear me properly, or I know that a lot of people here, most people here, their native language isn't English. So if I use words and stuff that seem a bit weird and you don't understand them, please let me know and I'll find other words, or we'll find the translation. We'll find the way to do it, yeah? I try as much as possible to not use too much jargon from the meditation world. There's a whole kind of, out in the field, you're like, the field out there, or the field of awareness. And, there's a whole language that is not, it's not obvious what the hell's going on. So I try to stay away from that, but sometimes it might slip in. And then you can go, what are you talking about when you say that funny word, So feel free to ask for more understanding. So in basic, like what are we doing in meditation? I'll just give a simple pointers so that we always have something to be going on, yeah? No matter what. So there's the very basic, just grounding in the body, which we'll be practicing like a muscle, this awareness coming into the body that helps us to be able to have some reflection so that we can feel what's going on. Not as much see, because see, it stays up here in the mind, Then we stay very cerebral, but to be able to feel, be in touch. And in our formal meditation is when we're sitting and going, okay, now I'm going to meditate, As opposed to informal meditation, when we're going to the toilet, when we're eating, all of that we can also be meditating in those moments. So we're really slowing down, opening the door, putting our shoes on, going to get a cup of tea, cup coming to lips, lips feeling warmth, we can really get into that slowing down to give ourselves these conditions for developing that muscle of awareness. So in our formal meditation, especially, these three are really helpful. And that is awareness, establishing awareness, inquiry, and effort. Establishing awareness can happen in a multitude of different ways. I'm mainly offering guidance on establishing awareness in the body, the breath, but we'll also go into wider than that, surroundings, the more kind of the ecology of it all. Inquiry, I prefer the word curiosity. So that when we're established in some awareness, we feel a bit grounded. So we've got our focus. Okay, my focus is going to be, the breath, or just feeling the solidity of my body, the contact, one of those proposals. And we feel grounded enough and anchored, so we're not going all over the place. Even if we slip off that, we can come back to grounding. And then, what's happening now? Then we open out to inquiry, to curiosity. And that curiosity, I find in itself is an antidepressant. Because it's difficult to be curious and down at the same time, no? There's something about curiosity, no? If you imagine, those funny insects, those little ones like that, and they have these huge antennas, You know what I mean? And then they're out of proportion to the rest of their body. And they're going along and the antennas are going like this in front of them, feeling out the land in front, So imagine we're like that in our meditation. With what's happening? What's going on? With our antlers, very sensitive, very gentle, feeling along. What's happening? And this curiosity, to start to cultivate this curiosity in meditation, it's like this. It's like, curious is like this, no? The eyebrows come up, no? It's difficult to be curious and cynical and skeptical and doubting and curious. So starting to we can generate curiosity. Hey, we can say, could I be curious about this? Especially in the, here we have this perfect Dharma teaching of last night it was tropical, it was so hot. And maybe going, didn't like that, don't want too hot, or then it's too cold, don't want that, and to be curious about that. What's happening? What's happening with our, I only want what's comfortable. So I want to go towards that easefulness, and the rest is not, I don't want that in my awareness. Like exile, get out. Get out what I don't like. And to be curious about the whole of the experience. This is meditation. To be curious about all of it, not just what we want in our awareness now. And that's, it's a huge subject because, of course, most of the time, the tendency is towards the comfortable, what we like. Like, for me, I don't like instant coffee. I'll survive without, but hey, But so we can explore these. We can explore our preferences. And most of the time we're more hooked and addicted onto what's comfortable than what's not comfortable. But there are tendencies also to be addicted to the suffering. And to know that is important as well. To know when we're addicted to our suffering, and we don't have to be. So as we were speaking about pain yesterday, and how the mind, when there's physical pain, then what do we add to it, to that physical pain? It's the same. When there's something that's not going in the way of our preference, what are we adding to it? So we can be curious about that and feel into it. So rather than trying to get rid of things that we don't like or think shouldn't be there, curiosity. They say in English, curiosity killed the cat, hey? But that's what I love about cats, no? It's just how curious they are. They're like, I've got to go and find out what's in that corner there, in that box, under that thing, and on that roof, out the window, you know. So it's okay. We've got a few lives, hey? We've got a few lives. We can take some curiosity risks in ourselves here today in our practice. So that was the second one. The third one is effort or energy. So knowing how much effort to put in, which begins by knowing where our energy is at. So we might be sitting there and we go, okay, establish awareness in the body. Okay, get some curiosity, inquiry, what's happening. And then we start falling asleep, or the energy's really like this, or we're really agitated. So knowing, there's agitation. That's what, I could get curious. How is agitation in my body? How is dullness, spacing out? Oh, how interesting. What's spacing out like? Boredom. Whatever. Joy. Pleasure. What does it taste like? And so there's that feeling into our effort, the amount of energy we're putting in, because if we're trying too hard, it just creates more suffering, more contractedness. So if we're going to start meditating like this, like the one who's driving the car and you can see the white knuckles, those people, sometimes you cross them on the road, and you see them like this driving the car. If we're going to bring that into meditation, it creates a contracted mind, which doesn't lead to freedom from suffering. Also, if the effort we're putting in is too loose and floppy, and just like, hey man, anything goes, yeah, just chill out and just let it all happen to me, then we'll probably spend the day spacing out and daydreaming, which has its qualities as well, but it's helpful to gather a bit as well, to gather ourselves. Like the cat, when the cat sits down towards the evening and it starts looking out to listen to the sounds of the night. The way cats, they draw themselves up, and they wrap their tail around themselves and they're like, time for meditation. Mm-hmm. And then if you people are arguing or making too much noise, they kind of go, wrap the tail, time for meditation. So that sense of the cat that gathers in, that gathers the energies that are spilling out in a bit. So not too tight, not too loose. So these are the three first factors of enlightenment. There are 7 factors of enlightenment. And they're all factors that are natural in us. We have them already. We have the capacity for awareness. We have curiosity in us somewhere. Everybody has curiosity somewhere. And we have energy. So they're all natural. But in meditation, we're cultivating them for the purpose of liberation. And the groovy part is that the first three are what we really, it's like our everyday exercises in meditation. And the other four, they just come along. They come after the other three. They come naturally. But I'll speak about them more in the next few days. But already that's a cause for celebration, you know, so that we're not feeling like a funeral here, that we already have these factors of enlightenment in us, naturally. It's part of the human mind. So I would like to read this short poem as an offering for today, a bit about our minds, about our tendencies, before giving some instructions on walking meditation. This is by a mystical poet from a long time ago, a Sufi poet from India called Rumi. Do you know Rumi? The chance of humming. A man standing on two logs in a river might do all right floating with the current while humming in the now. Though if one log is tied to a camel who is also heading south along the bank at the same pace, all could still be well with the world. Unless the camel thinks he forgot something and abruptly turns upstream, then uh-oh. Most minds do not live in the present and can stick to a reasonable plan. Most minds abruptly turn and undermine the chance of humming.